Brad, the Wii is almost over.
We keep saying that, and yet it keeps
Thought that
coming back.
Thought that was gonna be Skyward Sword.
Like, every couple months for the last while, we've been going, all right, this has got to be the last Wii game that matters, right? Right.
And
it never is.
And now we have at least 2 more. We've got this game, Xenoblade. I was trying to look up the proper way to pronounce it. Doesn't seem like there is necessarily a proper way. It seems like there's a Japanese way and then the America way, which is not giving a shit. Yeah, this is from Monolith Soft.
Yeah.
This game was part of the whole big, petition to try and get this.
Was that
the last story and
Operation Rainfall?
Yeah, there was a third game that slips my mind.
I can't remember the other game.
They're basically like these big games that the reason people were really incensed about them not coming to America was that, at least in the case of Xenoblade Chronicles and the last story, they were already getting translated for Europe.
Right.
So there was no good reason for these games not to come out here.
Right. Other than business reasons.
Yeah, and so finally Nintendo sort of bucked up, and whether in response to the petition or just this was the plan all along and it makes them look good in front of their fans, this comes out this weekend either exclusively through GameStop or if you buy it through Nintendo.com. So, I mean, this is a JRPG, so I knew that I had to try and play at least some sort of decent portion of this.
Yeah.
And even 4.5 hours or 5 hours to see in the next save is not even a decent portion of what I have clearly... Since I've been looking it up, this game, you can spend well over 120,
Yikes.
140 hours. There's a lot to this game.
I see that you decided to play either to level 15 or 5 hours, whichever came first.
And no, at some point I was just like,
you made it.
We have to go to PAX East.
Oh, right.
I got as far as I could
Yeah.
in this game in the time allotted, given that Tamale Jam was last weekend. And when you see this, we are in Boston.
We're about 14, 15 hours away from our flight to Boston right now, so
If we
yeah.
just came up the Bionic
It's,
Shin, then
It's a little hectic around here, but
I'm
really excited to see this. This quick look has been like a year in the making, because when did this come out in Europe? It's
been a while.
like almost a year, right?
like we can
So we
climb
had
up
one of our engineers actually had the
Sam
yeah,
imported the...
Sam had the European version of this game and really liked it, and he bestowed it upon us, and then we summarily forgot about it.
It sat on I think Jeff's desk for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean,
and got buried underneath everything.
Yeah, but there's been so much good word of mouth about this that I was curious to see it.
Yeah, I will say up front, Xenoblade Chronicles does not give a fuck that it's on the Wii. Like, it does not compromise the fact that it is huge, epic, gorgeous. There is so much content. This game doesn't care that it's on a platform whose hardware is really, really old at this point. So, everyone hates kind of the term, it's good for a Wii game, but this is just a really good-looking game that just happens to be on really aging hardware. So the premise of Xenoblade Chronicles is, at some point, eons ago, there were these 2 titans that were fighting. These are the 2 titans. We are on the kneecap of one of them.
Would that be Bionis?
Bionis. And
I'm paying attention.
The other one, I don't know what his name is. It's still pretty early in the story. I'm still not quite totally sure what's going on. But basically, these titans clashed, froze, and now civilization lives on the bodies of these 2 titans. So when they say we're on Bionis' kneecap, we are on the kneecap of Bionis, and we're going to be heading over to Bionis' leg, and that's where civilization is. And the humans in this world, I'm not even sure if they're called humans, are in this sort of eternal battle with the Mechon, which are these sort of robot creatures, and it's not really clear why they're fighting the humans, except that the humans have to keep fighting them.
Or never changes.
Yeah, this game has a lot of shit going on. I don't play a lot of MMOs, but from what I gather from the battle system, this is very MMO-like. Let's see if there is. Is there a guy over here?
Yeah, kill something. I want to see.
All right,
okay.
so
no random encounters. You just fight stuff.
So there are different. So the enemies all have sort of different states. So this one, this guy's not going to do anything to me. So it's got very much, sort of the. So the battle system introduced, or so the overworld system introduced, kind of like in Chrono Trigger games, where there are enemies about. You can choose to engage them if you want, but you don't have to. There are enemies that on sight will engage you. There are enemies that if you use certain types of actions available to you that will aggro them nearby. So this game uses a lot of different RPG conventions. So if I initiate the battle, so you'll see this guy, now he has aggroed that enemy, which means that enemy's not paying attention to me. And some of they call them arts, which are like the different skills you have. You'll see they have side attack to inflict slow, attack from behind to deal additional damage. So a lot of the gameplay comes from manipulating aggro in order to...
So there's a threat level you can transfer aggro from one character to another?
Yeah, so if I pull up... I'll have to wait till we get near the enemy, but...
It's interesting how many JRPGs have taken that concept and run with it. Like,
yeah.
That was kind of the core of the Final Fantasy 13 combat, too, was having the tankier guys who generate threat and absorb more damage, while the kind of the DPS guys dish out all the damage.
Yeah,
like kind of the interplay of those different roles.
So that guy just straight up came after me.
What is that? A rabbit?
Plain bunny.
Is that a rabbit
Plain bunny?
a gigantic prehensile tail wielding a club?
So now I've got aggro on me, so I'm gonna try and wait and see if I can. Oh, I haven't even initiated the battle.
Oh, that enemy is so awesome.
So I can still run away. And now my guy isn't doing anything right now. So I initiate the battle. Hopefully he'll pull aggro off of him.
Yeah, with one hit it looks
Now
like.
break is one of these. This initiates what is a huge part of the combat mechanics, which is break and topple, which is to try and put characters in sort of they get pushed over and then you have a chance to sort of attack.
Okay.
You notice I'm not hitting anything and my guy is attacking.
Right.
So if you don't do anything, there are constantly things happening.
It's just like an auto attack.
Yeah. You do not control the other characters during battle. But you can, in between battles, switch which character you're in charge of. And you actually can take control of them when you do things called chain attacks. So in the upper left-hand corner, you see that meter's building up.
Yeah.
So chain attacks get really crucial and start integrating all these others. This game has a shitload of systems going on all at once.
So far, conceptually, it sounds almost exactly like FF13, which is not a bad thing.
And so as this meter fills up, when guys fall down, they don't necessarily just straight up die. If you have this meter at least one third up, or 2/3 up, or 3/3 up, you can choose to dole out that meter in a couple of different ways. So if a guy has fallen down, you don't have to use like an item or a Phoenix drop or anything sort of equivalent to bring them back up. You just go over and hit the B button, and they get back up. But that uses part of your meter. And sort of the goal is to try and keep everyone up, and to get you get experience points just for
discovering stuff.
Your goal is to try and get that up to 3 so you can do chain attacks. Chain attacks are what allow you to just pummel on an enemy mercilessly. And what ties into the chain attacks is the affinity system. And the affinity system are the relationships that you build up with your characters. So you can have the more conversations you have with the people in your party, items that you trade with people in your party. There's a lot of things that feed into that. But basically, the more affinity the characters have for one another, the better chance in the dice roll you have of your chain attack starting over again. So you can have the chain attack keep going and going and going, so long as you're doing other things within the affinity system to make it so the characters like each other more, basically. And the affinity system is intertwined to a lot of other things. But as you come into areas, you pick up quests, kind of just like any other RPG, and a lot of the basic quests you pick up are super MMO-like. Like, defeat 2 of these. And this guy is just a quest giver that's going to give me a bunch of ones that are in this area. So in Bionis' Leg, there are just a bunch of different enemies that I'm just going to come across normally. And so these are quests that I can pick up that will give me rewards for them. The thing that this game does that's really nice, and I don't think this is a normal convention, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you finish the quest, you automatically just get the rewards for it. You don't have to go back, give it to the quest giver.
Dude, that's great.
You get the money and items. Great. It tells you you've done it. As you're doing it, it tells you how far you are into the quest, and as soon as you've accomplished the task, you get you get the reward without having to go back to the guy, which is really nice.
A lot of games have done a lot of streamlining like that in terms of like letting you kind of sell trash loot and stuff without having to go back to a town, but for some reason nobody ever, that I know of, ever goes as far as just saying, all right, forget the quest givers, just like here's all the stuff.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
So right up here, this is the moment I decided that this was kind of a perfect part to sort of, other than running out of time, this was the moment I've been reading about that I was trying to get to. This is where the game first opens up. And it gives you just a real sense of the scope and the scale that they were going for with this game. And it's really impressive. It's a great art style. Just what they do within the confines of the Wii hardware is really impressive. So I love that it shows you where you are in that fucking huge mech.
That is kind of cool. So kind of 4-ish hours of tutorial and setup is what you're saying?
Yeah, this is really
that's not
where
the
game starts to open up. And you have this big field that you can run around with.
As the genre goes, that's not terrible.
Especially if you're starting to compare that to Final Fantasy 13.
Right.
Smoke? Maybe someone's got a fire going.
And they didn't redo the voices, so these are all the British actors that sort of contributed to the UK version. I think they may have done some minor cleanup to the text.
I haven't seen any superfluous U's so far. So I don't know.
They might have cleaned that part up. Like they might have changed that.
Sure.
So here's an example of how different enemies will react to different things. I don't know what ether is. That might be magic. I am still learning all the terminology and the systems, but basically, certain attacks will cause that guy to come after me. So we just look at this place.
This stuff looks really nice.
The music's really great. I guess maybe not all of it, but a bunch of it is by the composer that did the Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross music, Mitsuda, Sonori Mitsuda.
Yep.
So you can run around. You can kind of scope out. If you start with one of these guys, you're going to be stuck aggroing all those dudes. So you probably don't want to get involved with that. There's different items that are scattered all around. I'm going to jump into all of the crazy systems. Oh, this is the map. All the crazy systems this game's got going on. It's kind of nice. You can pull up some of the systems and manage some things.
Yeah, everything about this seems really streamlined so far.
So arts are your basic skills. It has just kind of a standard upgrade path as your AP is what you're collecting through each battle, and you can just pick what you want and start applying it. So it's like my basic heal, so I'm getting that up. You have to buy skill books to increase it past the point. You'll see the different books there that you purchase those, and then you can continue to upgrade them. Let's see what else we got. I was just introduced to this skill link. So skill links is basically, because you don't control all the characters at once, you can link together certain skills that other characters have to you to basically pull over one or two skills so that you become sort of a more well-rounded character. So
almost like Mass Effect, where you take like if you want more biotic powers, you bring a biotic guy with you.
Yeah, and it corresponds to these shapes.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
And there are 3 different skill trees that you're building up, and you can switch them as you go along. That feeds in from SP that you're getting from each of the battles. But it's kind of nice because that's sort of how, even though you don't, Mass Effect is a great example, because even though you don't have all the powers of, say, this other guy, if you go into a battle where, I just need this one, that would be really useful, there are ways to kind of set up your characters to make that happen.
Can you swap party members in and out, or do you have any others right now?
Haven't gotten far enough to, it's based on the way the text is, it sounds like eventually, yes, you will have more characters than you know what to do with, and it seems like there are some skills that you'll get that are active skills and passive skills, so some skills that once you've earned them, it applies to the whole party, regardless of whether they're in the battle party that you're playing with, but some skills will only apply if you've got them with you and you're fighting with them. But yeah, it's just really nice. This is clearly really well thought out.
Yeah.
Like how you can sit here and mess with this stuff and think about what you want to do while you're traversing this environment.
Well, it seems like they've taken a lot of the better ideas from Western RPG design over the last few years and rolled that stuff in here, but it's still unmistakably a JRPG.
Yeah, it is totally a JRPG. But it's interesting because I've never played an MMO, and I probably have not played a proper JRPG for some time now. But this seems like
someone's left a buggy out here.
For this kind of game, like the best kind of that kind of game.
And it's pretty new.
And it doesn't. And the thing is, it also doesn't strike me as super behind the times.
No,
it seems to take the conventions of JRPGs, applying them some new Western combat models, but also not leaving behind what people seem to really like about JRPGs.
Oh, mysterious youth with unknown special power.
Well, so the Modano. It's that sword he's wielding, like that blue lightsaberish kind of thing. So the myth of this world is that was the weapon that was wielded by that giant creature, or at least this is a version of it. And it's the only thing that can truly defeat the Mechon or the enemies. So.
But it was near some water. Near water.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Maybe it was triggered by. Well, we'd better find him.
So now he's just discovering that he has the ability to have premonitions, and so he can kind of change the future. He gets little snippets into what's going to happen. And the truly cool thing is that applies to combat too.
Huh.
So it should come up in this battle we're coming up to, but in case it doesn't, in short, when enemies are about to do an attack that's particularly powerful, a lot of times you'll get a brief premonition where the screen will go blue. It'll show you that move happening and how it's going to affect you, how many hit points you're going to take, how it affects any of the party members around you, and gives you about 15 seconds to try and buff up and neutralize that from happening.
That's a pretty great idea, because JRPG bosses have a long history of just hitting you with shitty kind of one-hit death attacks,
right?
Without any warning whatsoever.
And these attacks are super powerful, but it gives you it's kind of like, I mean, some of those JRPGs will have like a countdown timer, like what you have.
Yeah, occasionally they'll tip you off somehow, but
it's certainly not standard.
You all right, kid?
So this battle should bring up both the strategies you have to employ in terms of pulling aggro, toppling characters, and then hopefully we'll also get the time travel premonition aspect.
Ready when you are.
Just love how British it is.
Yeah, I actually kind of love that.
That kind of gives it like a kind of a cool, unique vibe. It makes me wish that I knew my British accents. Like, for such a geographically small country, there are so many different flavors of British accent, and I wish I don't know my Cockney from my, like, I don't know, I can't even name another British accent besides that. If you get Calvert or somebody in here to school us.
So you see that like little yellow mark? That means I've been able to pull off sort of the special part of one of my arts. So like I attack on the side.
Oh, so it's positional even.
Yes. Which is why the aggro stuff becomes really important.
Oh yeah. I heard a lot of people were saying that the combat specifically was one of the best parts about the game, which generally seems crazy for a JRPG, because that was probably the major thing that really had turned me off the genre over time. Is just how repetitive that stuff had gotten.
There's just a lot going on, and there seems to be you have a whole shitload of options of how you want to approach battle.
Yeah, like a lot of technique and a lot of freedom, it looks like.
And it's not turn-based. Like, I mean, it is. Like, cooldowns essentially means it's turn-based, but it's sort of like Chrono Trigger in that it's sort of faking you out in terms of what it means by being turn-based.
So he's just attacking when you get close enough? Is that how that's working? Your guy? Like, you're not, like you said earlier, you're not hitting a button to use the sword, right? When you run up? Okay.
He's just attacking, and then I can start pulling in the... Alright, so here's where I'm getting the premonition.
Yikes.
And that's going to fuck my guy up.
Right.
So now I want to use the Monado. Use my shield power. So now he's protected. I can heal him.
Is there... I'm scanning all these numbers and stuff. Is that meter up there, is that the countdown?
Yes.
So once that's empty, he busts out?
Right. So now he's gonna...
Or does he? Oh no, man.
Oh man.
Turned it on
Took
you.
me out.
Ouch.
Now hopefully my guy will come help me. They're usually pretty smart.
Oh no!
What are you doing,
Oh.
Get up. This really ain't good.
That was about to be an inauspicious end to this quick look.
No, actually they handled death exceptionally well in this game.
Really?
So I'll get to that in a second. I don't have enough. All right, so I'm gonna die, and I'll show how well this game handles death. It might put us back a little bit too far. Oh no, it puts us right here. So it immediately just dumps you back with no penalties. You regain all the experience. Even if you were mid-battle, all that treasure is still there.
Huh.
And plops you really close to where you were before. No load times. You'll notice this. This also applies to the map. It's really well done. So this helps a lot when you're in a city and you need to go from like shop to shop to shop. So landmarks, you just pull them up, you go to it. As long as you're in the same area, no load times.
Nice.
So it really helps when like you need to go buy, stuff from a shopkeeper, gems, which are just for your slotted weapons. They have, it's just like the game's crafting system. But yeah, like in a lot of games, you would expect there would be like 3 or 4 seconds of load time while you waited to get to that spot, considering how huge some of these fields are. But that's not something you have to worry about in this game. And it just seems like they really thought out.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Wow, that is quite a beast.
I have not encountered that guy before.
I would recommend
Level
that you,
81.
recommend that you continue not encountering him.
Let's see what else we got going on.
Has this game always been Xenoblade Chronicles, or was it just Xenoblade at one point?
I don't know.
I
I
thought
thought it was just Xenoblade.
I thought originally, like in Japan, it was just Xenoblade. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's a night-day cycle. I don't know why nighttime has got a dash. Does it always have a dash?
Maybe. Just think it's weird that they let you know. By the way, it's night.
Oh, well, it does that because there are certain actions that can only be done at night.
Oh, so you need to know exactly where
the citizens in the game have a day-night cycle.
Huh.
All right, let's see if I can actually pay attention this time.
We can't lose.
So you start this battle over, right? Like, well, yeah.
Yep.
So he didn't retain any of his damage or anything.
Oh, ha! We can definitely do this. Come on, please. Let's focus our efforts.
So then also, like, if he gets pulled aggro to another guy, I can tell him, hey, stop doing that. Come over here and attack this guy with me. And it's just as easy as holding Z and A on the guy that you're fighting. Try to slow him down.
Extreme edge. Almost there. Come on. Shadow Eye. Not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Ah.
I don't have enough. Shit.
This isn't going well.
No, it's not. I agree.
Right heel. Backslash. S-slash.
Your other guy had all of his colors inverted.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's a bad thing. Can you go get him back, or is he out?
No, I can get him back, so
Oh.
I didn't.
Sorry.
Splat.
Oh, he pulled aggro too early on the other guy. So this game is tough, or at least maybe I'm terrible at it. But I've had to do a pretty decent amount of grinding. The nice part is that because a lot of the combat is automated like an MMO, when you do need to grind, you can kind of just
Kind of zone out.
zone out.
Seems like a good podcast listening game. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. So and once you get to once you sort of like figure out the strategy, you can kind of just
Sit down, put on an episode of Radio Lab, and just
Yeah.
go.
All right. Well, we'll give this one last chance. Let's see if I can stop effing this up. But again, it's super impressive how it handles the death. Like I wasn't expecting that, and it's really nice because if you find yourself in a trouble spot, you just leave the cave.
Fight that guy. Fight that guy.
I'm gonna fight this.
Fight that guy.
See
Let's go out on a blaze of glory. How does it handle manual saving? Do you have to hit a save point, or can you just do
Nope.
it whenever?
Yep.
Man, this seems like a totally modern JRPG. Way to go, Monolith Soft.
Oh, I'm just straight up missing.
Great.
My guys are.
Oh my god! That was... wow.
Let me see if there's anything else I'm missing. here.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, that dude, 81. Jesus.
It's pretty good. What are you, like 15?
14,
Yeah.
almost 15. Crafting, items, all that standard stuff.
I would be interested to hear, although I'm sure they would never give it, a comment from Nintendo on why this happened exactly.
Yeah,
Like if they would attribute it to that kind of letter writing campaign, or if, they
that
just
seems like that would be dangerous for them to admit that.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, this game has achievements.
Wow.
And those, you get experience for doing them. So
Jeez.
it's not like they, tie into a system level thing, but these are straight up normal game achievements.
Yeah.
And you're, doesn't seem like they, seems like you kind of just come across them by accident.
Do they pop in an achievement or trophy like fashion, like little?
Yeah, they come up. They come up and say, "Hey,
notification.
you did this thing.
Little notification with a ding.
Here are some experience points."
That's really cool. Man,
Heart to hearts. Those are when you're wandering around the world, you'll come across these spots where totally optional conversation part with the characters, but that increases the affinity, and so you are kind of encouraged to do that stuff because it will increase your chance of doing chain reactions. So you'll see, like this has the different citizens I've met. Colony 9 is where we're from. There's different colonies that people hide out in to hide from the Mechon. And yeah, when you do more things for them, it increases your affinity, and then you can trade items with them, and you can, the higher affinity, and then the higher value of the item you're trading, the more of a chance you have of getting something really nice in return. And yeah, you can just pop in, I think as long as you're not in combat, save whenever you want. There are no save points. So it's just, for what it is, I have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, this game seems to be doing all the right things from where I'm sitting.
I'm not a huge fan of MMO combat. It's not super engaging to me, but it seems for what this game is setting out to do, it does it exceptionally well. It looks great.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be looking at this and, I mean, sure, it would look probably pretty great in HD and all that, but in the context of what it is, it looks really terrific.
Yeah.
And when you watch the cutscenes, the story, it doesn't seem like there were any compromises made as a result of it being on some older hardware. It seems like Monolith Soft had a story they wanted to tell, and they just found a way to make it work on the hardware they had. So if you still have your Wii, you're looking for something to kick around with it, this seems like a really great game to pick up, and it's cool that it finally came out here.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of love that it came out in the UK first, because I think the British acting gives it a certain flair that you don't get from other games. So that is Xenoblade / Xenoblade Chronicles. It is out now for the Wii. Thanks, Brad.
Awesome, thank you.